Thank you. Thank you, Joe. The title for this speech I am going to do today comes from a book that I read recently. You might know this book, Start with the Why by Simon Sinek. Quite an interesting book. It's actually not about public speaking, it's about leadership. But it makes my point very clear, because the idea is whatever you're going to do, a speech in public, in front of your friend, in front of your teammates, for your boss, or you're doing a presentation online, it's always very important. I would say the most important thing to start from the end. Why are you doing that speech or presentation? What do you want to achieve? Don't focus right away on how you're going to do it, but rather make sure you are very, very clear in your mind why you're doing what you're doing. So that's why the book Start with the Why is about leadership, but in general, it's about finding purpose and finding a meaning in everything we do. And sometimes our why can be enormous, can be big. We want to change the world. You can think about any number of famous people, famous achievers in industry, in social life, politicians throughout history. If you look deep behind what they did and behind what they achieved, they always start with their why. Why? What was the reason why they wanted to do that? And sometimes, actually, the why doesn't have to be such a big one. I'm going to tell you a story about a why, which is actually quite strange. Do you know, actually, you probably all know about Lamborghini car, supercars made in Italy. The company was started by Mr. Ferruccio Lamborghini. Lamborghini is actually his last name. But do you know why he started a car manufacturer? He was a very wealthy man. Actually, his business was to build tractors. During the Second War, he was a mechanic, and right after the war, Italy needed equipment in agriculture. They needed tractors, any sort of equipment. So he started buying off army surplus and abandoned tanks after the war and rebuild them into tractors. He became very, very wealthy. So why a wealthy man would decide to start a company to build supercars? What happened was, a wealthy man at the time, what would do was to buy a Ferrari. And he happened to live very close to Modena, and he knew personally Enzo Ferrari, the owner and the founder of Ferrari company. And once he bought his nice supercar Ferrari, he started having a lot of trouble, technical problem, because you see, at the time, Ferrari wasn't a perfect machine. It was actually a car with a lot of mechanical problems. So Mr. Lamborghini, being himself a technician, he started looking into that, and one day decided to go and approach Mr. Ferrari and tell him all the problem, all the list of the problem. And he explained this to Mr. Ferrari, said, look, this, and this is a problem. Your car is not very good, blah, blah, blah. You should try to improve it. Mr. Ferrari took it personally and told him, there is nothing wrong with my car. The problem is you. So Mr. Lamborghini went back home and decided that his why was, I want to build a car that is better than the car that Enzo Ferrari does. That's how he started Lamborghini. So that was actually kind of a strange why, the reason why he started. And as I said, it's just to put everything in perspective. We don't always have to have a very important, life-changing why, but we still need to have one. It doesn't matter if your speech or presentation is a sales speech, or is you want to inspire action in your team, or you want to convince your boss about something, or you want to educate customers about a new product. It doesn't matter. If you focus and you have very clear your why, and I invite you to actually write it down somewhere, which remains in front of you, you will achieve at least 3 important things that will help you through the presentation or the speech. The first one, why has a lot to do with leadership, as I said. Make sure that you have your why very, very precisely set, because that will help you when the presentation or the speech is not going very well, you're not achieving what you want to achieve. It will help you to remember why you're doing it. And the second thing, having a why will give you clarity. When you're working on your presentation, if you know why you're doing it, what you want to achieve, you will find yourself in a better position to decide what to put in your presentation and what to leave out. Because whatever doesn't help you to achieve your why, you can leave it out. And as I said, sometime starting from the end, it's very important, because if you know where you want to get, at least even when you are in confusion, maybe the speech is not going very well, maybe you're getting some questions from the audience which you're not ready to answer, at least you will still remember where you're leading. So you will give yourself that peace, that relaxation to be able to beat the anxiety and be ready to answer the question and stir again the conversation back towards your goal. So in conclusion, whatever you're going to write, the speech of your life, the presentation that's going to turn around your business, or just a small presentation, 3 pages for a team meeting tomorrow morning, just make sure next to the title, write your why and the reason why you're doing that presentation. That will give you a big advantage. Back to you, Joe.